Hello, welcome to another tonal landscape oil painting demonstration. This is your painter in residence, M. Francis McCarthy. And the painting I'm bringing you today is called A Tonal Moment. It's 3.5 by 3.5. It's a little mini, and I painted it about a week ago. And we're sharing the palette here. It's kind of the stripped down, no drop shadow version, but I kind of like that. It's kind of clean. I'm experimenting. I have a goal to try and record the palette with my regular painting session to the point where it gets a little more reflexive, because I gotta sync these up and using a clap. Anyway, you can access this live painting session. Is a good one because if these little minis, they can open you up, and they're perfect painting for the busy person. Okay, because I don't even want to tell you how long this took, but if you were in the Studio Pass area on Substack, you would know. It's not very long. This is not sped up very much, and I'm really, really stoked with how it turned out. So this is the deal. I was waiting for a friend to show up, and they weren't really. And I'm thinking, well, I'm just going to do the drawing. And then I'm knowing, well, okay, I got to get home. The wife's going to be wanting some lunch and stuff, and so I got the drawing done, and I'm going, yeah, I'm just going to go for it. And I got it done very quickly, and I'm really, really stoked with it. Now, this composition, I changed a few things. In the original, which you can see the reference, that's like a road or something. I made it a little lake. And actually, when I prepped this reference, there were a bunch of little trees dotting that distant hill. I don't recommend painting those sorts of things. You notice even in the reference that the little trees at the very top. If you were doing this painting quite large, maybe you could get away with that. You definitely want to make sure you faded it out. But this when you're working this tiny, it's all about making that quick, emotive statement. And trying to practice as much intimacy and artistry as possible. So this board I've had prepped for a long time. I have no idea what color it is, some kind of acrylic on MDF, and I have a bunch of these little 3.5 by 3.5s, and I like to break them out. I got a few cool frames around. Oh, and this is in a wonderful frame in the gallery right now. I just had the most perfect frame for it. Anyway, working just with burn umber and working very quickly, and now you can see I'm doing my color mixes, and that's why not much is changing in the painting there in the easel area. Sky, you always want it. That's Prussian blue, and yeah, again in the not to hassle you or nothing, but that Studio Pass area, you got the palette. You can download that and see what's up, but. I'm using Prussian blue. I'm always sharing. I use a lot of burn umber, and one of my things in this painting was bringing a little burn umber into a lot of the different elements, and that's actually one of the things that helped to tie into that frame. Not that I even knew I was going to put it in that specific frame, but that's one of your angles you want to practice when you're going for the tonal thing. It's not that you add the same color to everything, but that you're looking for that harmonizing element that will bring everything together. And blues always have, just to get back to the sky there, they always got to be tamped down. So I like to throw a lot of raw umber in them, sometimes burn umber, sometimes black. Hold on, Uncle Mike's going to have a little tea here. Sorry about that. Yeah. Whatever you got to do, in fact, oftentimes, yeah, look at that, and you compare that to the reference. You go, I thought it looked on the palette. I thought it looked a little dull, but no, on the reference, it looks just fine. And you always want to be varying those blues. You can see I change it right up. I don't want to paint a whole. Don't take your nice blue you mixed. Say you did, get some Prussian and get some white and a little black, and it starts looking good. Don't use it everywhere. You gotta change it up, modify it like I did here. First thing I did was I brought in a little bit of that yellowy tone, and if that wasn't there, I might have brought in some yellow ochre. Now, real pleased with the brushwork on this one. I've left it, and then you can see a little bit of that board streaking through, and that's getting into some more Barbizon kind of feeling there. And I'm really happy with that approach. I've been trying to do that a lot, just to let the brushwork, working in, hit the colors, hit the notes. Like if I was singing those, hitting the right color, it's like hitting the right note. I do music too, by the way. You're going to hear some of it in the background here, and I don't promote it much, but here's a link. There's a link. There's a bunch of links there. Anyway, yeah, a lot of taupes. I like with the sky. I had a gray kind of thing. I did with some burnt umber. A lot of times I like to do that, and then vary that with some taupes, bringing in some burnt sienna, or maybe my mixing red. And then of course the lights. And the lights you might see me fiddle around with a bit more than the other colors I'm mixing, because well, the lighter the color is in your painting, the more attention it tends to draw to itself, and thus the more critical it becomes that you hit that right, you correct note. And there you go. A lot of times it's always a bit of a shock when you see that brightest note come in like that. But that's a technique I picked up from the masters. I've had a trip to the Louvre. This is in my book. It's in the new one. I don't think, no, it might be in the old one. I told the tale, but one of the, everyone was constantly hitting me out here in New Zealand. Oh, your paintings are dark, da 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 da. And I went to the Louvre, and so were the paintings of the masters. They were all dark, except they had this one bright bit of highlight that totally made it. And that's a tip I pass on in the old book, and we've been selling a lot of those. And I'm getting a reorder going on that, so I'm real pleased about that. And I worked very hard on that, and so did my one of my students was the editor of that, and she did a wonderful job on it, and I really appreciate what she did so much. And she's not doing art at that. Well, I guess she's doing something. Always something artistic. But anyway, she saved us all, and that's why this book exists. And I'll ship it to you, $65. You get your tonal tips in a sort of how-to format. Yeah. Yeah, and the new book I'm working on is more like a series of essays hitting all the different points of painting. Yeah, just about anything I could think of. So definitely inspired by how many tips did I throw you in this video? Is anyone writing it down? Well, I've been trying to, and that's been a big process. Anyway, yes, I have a real tendency to want to work with the darks first in my landscape, and here that dark is mixed with a bit of my favorite, burnt umber and Mars black at the moment. I like the bit of opacity I get from that Mars black. It just makes doing those darks a little easier. I'm really very focused on my darks and how they're working these days, and every aspect of painting is a challenge, and you could see it all in miniature here in this painting, and that's the great thing about doing the miniatures. You can learn so much because you've got all the same problems you have in a large painting, but a small space to do it. And you can make a beautiful painting. It doesn't have to be called a study or anything like that. It's just as valid as any large painting, except of course it will take you a bit less time. It should take you less time, although I know when one of my brief forays into social media there, as a guy making paintings this size, and I'm sure he'd spent weeks on it, and doing miniature versions of Hudson River paintings, incredible works of art. Yeah, so minis, that's where it's at. Well, actually, I like to make all different size paintings. This last month I made some really big ones. This is the tiniest I made. I don't really tend to go much smaller than 3.5 inches. That's pretty small. But they're cute and they have an appeal. I noticed when I first started getting into minis, like, I don't know, 2017 or so, and I already had boxes of 5x7s, which you would think is a mini. A lot of people call it a mini, but like back then we had tourists and things. We still had like a normal kind of world a bit more. And you would see you would see them buy those minis over the 5x7s, the same price. They just thought it was cuter or neat. They have kind of a gem-like quality, which is cool. I can go quite a while without doing minis. It's not like I have an inborn need to do minis, but I do appreciate it and enjoy it. And this was especially good because in a period of time I might have just got an underpainting done. I actually managed to get a whole painting done, and it's right up there with anything good I've done lately. So I'm really happy to share it with you. That's for sure. By the way, just hopefully you caught my easel talk on the 8 truths about painting. I think it was a good talk. I watched it myself, and if you didn't check it out, check it out. This replacing the whole life thing, and I got a lot more done working that way, and I think it's covering the same sort of ground. I noticed on the live videos that people were tending to come around later anyway, so this way I can generate a nice thumbnail. I've been doing that premiere thing. I got the date wrong this week, but usually it'll be like your Thursday, not your Friday, but it's my Friday because I'm in New Zealand, and a few of you are out here. I got a few fans out here. Yeah. We've had some good news on the new book score. I know I've been talking about it. I've been in a real predicament, a dilemma with the editing. It needed to be worked on, and I was unable to use the same tools that I was able to use to help me write it, and just drifting, because. But the great news is I've got. And she hasn't done the work yet, but she did the last book, and that's Ash Ellis, and she did an amazing job on the last book. Those of you that have the last book are no doubt appreciating her work, and a brilliant artist in her own right, and a very bright lady. So that is really great news because I was struggling. Yeah, and that's enough said about that. We'll put that under the category of my Uncle Mike's problems. Your problem is, I want to make another great painting. Well, you could just, there's little mini canvases. Why not? What I don't like about the canvas, the small size, is that canvas texture tends to take over. You know, so, but you can actually. I haven't looked on Amazon or not. Pretty soon, I'm going to be getting a link underneath these videos of a page where you can go buy things that I recommend, and that would be good because that'd be a great way to support the channel, and it doesn't cost you anything. So I had an intention of doing that with the tutorial videos I did last year, but well, my that didn't work out. But it's going to be cool because some of those are definitely working their way over to the Substack, and you definitely subscribe on the Substack if you're even if you're doing it just on the free level, because you're going to see a lot of extra value there. For one, you get emailed, and I just got a comment on the latest easel talk. A lady was like, "Oh, I don't see you in my feed anymore," and that's the reason. That's the reason I'm driving over. I'm trying to get you guys to go over to Substack, because then you don't have to worry about it. You get me in your email, and you can decide, I don't care about looking at that. Or you see the painting, go, yeah, I'm interested in that. Either way, you'll know about it. And yeah, I won't be spamming nobody. It's pretty much going to be 3 a week. We do the regular. This is my Sunday. This is going to be going out, and everyone else is Saturday. We do that every week. We're doing the midweek one, which is my Wednesday. That's predominantly on the Substack there, where we're going to be putting in a very valuable asset. Now, a valuable asset goes into the Studio Pass area every Sunday, which would be, in this case, would be the full-length session that we're looking at here. With the transcript, which is searchable, and the palette and all that groovy stuff. And yeah, but even if you're tipping over for free, at least you'll be, well, and the other reason for me getting all this Substack going is because I will have this new book coming out, and I will be sharing chapters of it. And so join my Substack, join my mailing list, leave me a like, leave me a comment. And I appreciate you coming around, and hopefully turn off this video and go do a painting of your own. That would be great. Maybe do a little mini now that you're inspired, eh? Anyway, until I come back with another video hopefully for your edification and enjoyment, do me a favor and then do me a solid. Take good care of yourself, your family, all your loved ones, and stay out of trouble.